Hello everybody, welcome to another W31 testing session. Alex Simpson here, Apex Racing UK, gonna try and give some tips and tricks on the W31 round COTA. Another track I've never driven before. Hopefully we can pick up pretty quickly. I'm gonna look at the gearing tool that I was talking about last week. Smooly so kindly allowed us to share that as well, so you'll see links to that in the description below. Also going to look at some very basic Motec stuff as well, just really knowing, checking to make sure we're getting the most out of the tyres, checking the camber levels and things like that within that through each particular corner. While we can get some sort of information out of iRacing, look at the temps in the garage, it's never quite as accurate as what we can get using Motec looking at each specific corner. So just got a hosted session going up now, 2 hours at COTA. It's open to everyone, feel free to join me. I'll try and answer some questions in the session as well. I've also got my laptop with me as well, so I will try and answer some questions on the broadcast as well. Let me just get into that. Yeah, it's just load into the session. Actually, before I do that, let me just connect to my office machine. Running 1080 tonight. What I might have to do is get a bit closer, I don't know, so you can read it. Even then you're probably going to struggle. I guess I will try and talk through some of the settings on screen at the time. So let me just down a bit. You guys don't need to see my emails or anything else that's going on either. And yeah, I'm just encoding the video as well. Temps in the garage is never quite as accurate as what we can get using Motec looking at each specific corner. So. And you're probably picking up a little bit of feedback there as well. Woohoo! Looks like I might be doing it on there. I can't get my laptop to work. Right. Yep, totally unorganised and not prepared or anything. Just, you know, my style. Alright, let's get loaded in. Yeah, hopefully you'll be able to pick up enough stuff. I'm not sure, perhaps the GoPro is the best thing to show you the Motec data and things like that, but yeah, it won't be too bad. Maybe in the future ones we can connect up and go straight onto screen instead, but we'll have a little play. Hopefully I won't blow your ears off with the car sounds this time. Turn it down just a fraction. Yeah, let me pick up my high speed on here as well. In fact, let me just check the car sounds first. Oh, that's always interesting when your pedals don't work. So, I'll just have to sort those out very quickly. Right, give me a second. Right, well that was a big hash. Hopefully it'll be sorted this time. Let's have a look. Yep, got accelerate, we got brake, we got clutch. All good. Notice this has gone down. The joys of playing with other cars. Messes with your settings. Click there. Okay. Camera on straight. As you can tell, totally ill prepared for this week. Right. I will just very quickly. Right, apologies for that. Right then, so I'm just going to a last sort of known setup for here, and yeah, we'll just do some laps very quickly, a bit like we did at Donington. Get a rough idea what's going on, learn some lines of the track, and we'll log some data, and then we'll quickly look at that as well. Try and work the gears out. Shouldn't be too difficult to do, hopefully. Won't have any real tricky corners like that last sector at Donington last week. Probably deluding myself quite a bit. But as we've known for this build now, the pressures want to be a lot lower. I'm just going to whack them down at a ballpark, I don't know, 130 as a guess, somewhere around there. Might need to be a bit higher, might need to be a bit lower, who knows. Quite a tricky little track, I think, looking at the layout, COTA, so good mixture of corners, some high speed, some slow stuff. So could be really difficult to find that optimal pressure. Yeah, so I'm going down to 130, or well, 130.9 all round at the minute. Just to start off with. Just to let you know what the downforce trim is, if you can't see that. I don't know how good the picture is actually, I'm just having a look up on the screen there. But yeah, I can make it out on the TV up there, so I hope you can. But yeah, obviously the high trim, 24 degrees, so the full 30 degrees at the moment, and plus 10 on the wicker just seems to be the last known sort of setup that the guys went with. Whether that'll be any different now that we're running on the default weather, it might be. Of course, got to readjust the ride heights quite a bit. So we just took a shed ton of pressure out. And I'm sure there's probably a bunch of pro guys now screaming, saying that's not how you do it, and that's not the right pressures and things like that. Might well be the case. But one thing I've learned from this car is everyone wants something a little different. So you really can set it up exactly as you please for yourself. There's no right setup. Certainly not one setup fits all. Right, let's get this down. And I took some ride height off the rear, but I'm just going to leave that alone for the minute. What I am going to do is just whack a bit of fuel in now, actually. Yeah, probably way to do it the other way around. Yeah, so I'm just messing around with the torsion bar offsets and the perch offsets to get as close to 27mm on the front end as I can, without getting the spring deflection too high when I'm running on low fuel. Ideally, I mean, it says here the proper procedures to set the spring deflection near zero. I don't think it really makes too much of a difference. There used to be a time where you would basically want it at zero all the time, and it was actually faster when it was at zero throughout the whole race. But that hasn't been like that for some time. Right, just some personal preference stuff going on. Right, okay, so yeah, let's just take it for a little spin. Right, I'm going to log data, so I'm going to show you that. If you don't know how to do that, it's just Alt and L. That'll start logging your data. You see the little telemetry symbol just pops up the top here, so that should indicate that you're going to be storing data. Obviously I've got iSpeed running as well, which is mainly really for the fuel figures. You can get that off the telemetry as well, but it's also useful with iSpeed because obviously we have the online data mart, so you can actually compare yourself to other drivers out there in the same series, see where you're gaining and losing time. Really useful tool. If you haven't seen it, definitely go check it out. I think also if you in the FW31 and you're looking at this, I know Troy posts a lot in the forum. Look at his signature, he's got this thing about finding 1 second at a time. Basically all the information you need to know about how to work out where you're gaining and losing time using iSpeed. I have to say, when I joined I was a complete rookie, was way off pace, things like that. I looked at that guide, that really helped me a lot. You know, and I have to say, probably without that tool I wouldn't have got to where I was now. Certainly opens your eyes into sort of driving techniques and how much speed you can carry or can't carry into some corners. So yeah, do go check that out as well. Right, let's take it through a few laps and see what kind of a fool we make of ourselves. Worth pointing out that I was messing around in the HPD the other day, so quite a bit. I don't normally switch from car to car, but might take me just a little second to get back in this. And I obviously need to know where the hell I'm going, because I really don't right now. Oh, that's a big curb. Like everyone, we all have to start off somewhere. Be interesting to see how this goes. Actually, I could be miles off the pace tonight, and you lot are going to be saying, "What the hell am I watching this dude for?" Car feels a bit boggy in second gear, but that's just probably me driving it slow at the minute. Really, this is just about getting used to the track layout, figuring out where everything is. Again, my COTA is probably going to look a lot different to yours because I've got so much stuff turned off. Oh, that's bumpy there. Something we've got to look at. Yeah, I'm still locked at 145 frames after Spa. I have to say, didn't go too well. Bullshit, a bit of damage model. Knocked me out of the race. Having a good fight with Alexi, and yeah, unfortunately, damage model said no. We were too close. Goodbye, front wheel. Definitely a problem with the car. Can be a right pain. Pretty sure, where the hell am I going? Pretty sure you can attack a lot more. So the last thing I'm worried about right now is the setup. It's just more figuring out how this track goes. And getting in the right gear as well, usually helps. I've got my YouTube screen on right now, so I'll have a look at that in a second. So apologies if you're asking any questions. Like I say, best way is jump into the session, or if you're watching it after the event, and I'll get back to you as quickly as I can. Very technical section, and off tracks are really close. Of course, because I've got half the buildings missing, it doesn't even look like it does on TV. Doesn't help. Oh, got such a wide entrance there, it's huge. Definitely see a lot of people going for moves up the inside of there, whether you want them to or not. Got tightened up, didn't it? I remember the guy saying that the track was actually quite slippy right now. Feels like I've got a lot of grip out there. So it may be just the default weather making all the difference. As I nearly lose it. I need a lot wider entrance into there. Yeah, I'll try and talk about some of the line stuff as well. Maybe, you know, some of the new guys to the car. And the sim really as well. Oh, that's got to be an off track. Might help you guys. Yeah, certainly one thing I've seen as well recently is just, you know, don't be afraid to use all the revs. See a lot of people short shifting it as soon as the lights come on in the cockpit. You don't have to worry really too much. Those blue lights come on, it's absolutely fine. Oh, still got that bit wrong. Bit better. This one that really tightens up, isn't it? I am just talking to myself really here as well. What do you guys do? If I remember rightly, I'm about 10 seconds off the pace at the moment, so doing good. Pretty sure they were 135, something like that around here. Oh, far too gingerly into there. Pretty sure that should be flat out through there, just got to get the line right. Well, first clear lap. 7 seconds to find. Sounds easy, but not when you do stupid stuff like that. Oh, you gotta watch those yellow curves, they're deadly. Look at that lines being all over the place right now. We might be able to brake at the 50 there, maybe a bit late, don't know, we'll try. Not burning much fuel, which quite surprises me. Thought would be sort of about 3 kilos a lap around here. Oh, that's just horrible. Definitely a lot more stop and start than I thought it was. That 15 kilos seems to have lasted for ages. Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna finish the lap anyway. Right. Okay, so even though I was only in my first stint, I'm not really going to bore you guys with me just getting used to the track, because seriously, that would be the most worst stream ever I could do for you. What I'm going to quickly do is telemetry. No, it's not in there. COTA. So I don't actually have Motec on this system. It's on another one that I normally look at it all on. So to see all my crap. So I'm going to plump that in there. So and then bring it up. Yeah. It is. Okay. If it went full screen. Which doesn't seem to want to. I see Ryan's watching. Hopefully Ryan can help with answering some of these questions for me. Thanks very much for jumping in on that, mate. See one question there for optimal hot pressure. Don't really have an optimal hot pressure. It definitely changes from track to track, but certainly the temperature that I aim for is about 90 degrees. Tend not to get any higher than that. If you do, that's when it starts getting a little slippy. As soon as you hit over 100, yeah, you're going to struggle big time. Heck is going on with this? I've all of a sudden lost my full screen on that. Let's reconnect on that and get that back up so we can do this properly. Still not doing it. Oh, let me change it in settings. Right. There we go. Let's bring up Motec. Now, in the link below to where you can download Motec from the iRacing forum, there was a link to a program called MU, and that's what converts the iRacing telemetry data into Motec, because as per standard we should really be using Atlas. I find Atlas a little tricky to use, actually, I have to say, so I tend to go towards Motec just to make life just a little bit easier. Now, also in the link in the description, I've put where you can download workbooks as well. We use a custom one that's been made for the team, but there are plenty that you can use and are just as good as well. It's just over the sort of years of messing around with the car, we've constantly developed our own little one. Different areas that we want to look at. Right now I'm just really interested in the tyre. That is the main thing. To be honest, it's the most prominent thing that you're going to play with on the car anyway. If the temperatures are too high, you're going to slip and slide everywhere. If they're too low or the pressures are too low, you're just not going to quite get the the contact patch that you want. So this is what this is really about, just making sure that your cambers and your contact patch are as big as possible. Now, I don't know if you can see this on screen very clearly, but what I'm looking at the moment is just the front tire temps. Now we can see a spike here. I'm guessing that will be a huge lockup. I can should be able to test that. Wheel spins via front. Yep, see, huge lockup. So we will ignore that spike too much, but what we're really looking for, I mean, at the moment, it's just select the one lap that I completed without making a bit of an error. But we want to make sure that our cambers are pretty even. You know, our temperatures are even across the tyre, so we've got as big as contact patch as we can get. Now, there has been a little bug with the new tyre model for a little while in regards to outside edge on the FW31. Not always giving us accurate information. Sometimes it goes really cold when in comparison where perhaps it shouldn't be. It was something I know Eric spoke about a while ago. It doesn't seem as bad as it used to be. It used to be like right down here and barely move. But really, we're not really interested in the outer edge. It's just the inside and the center of the tire. You know, the oval guy's far more concerned about what the outside tire temperatures does on the left hand side of the car, because you know that's the one that's helping them turn. They're constantly going left, so we obviously have left and right turns, so we're really interested in the inside and the center temperature. Now with Motec, once you get it up, you can slide your cursor anywhere you want, find out where you are on the track. If you've got one that's got the mini maps included, can be quite helpful. But what we're really looking at is just for big differences in tyre temperature, and I can obviously tell looking at the line here, it's not too bad, and that doesn't surprise me because obviously the guys have done a little bit of work on this already, so I would expect it to be pretty close. There are a couple of areas that just a little bit off. Just having a look at the front right here. It's not actually loaded, so that would make sense as why that's a little bit lower. So obviously left hand turns, it's your front right that's loaded. Right hand turns, it's the front left. So there'll always be a little bit of temperature variance when the tire's not loaded. So on the corner of a car that is loaded, that's the area that you want to be looking at. So on the right hand turns, you're just looking at the left hand side of the car really to make sure the temperatures are matching. I have to say they're pretty good within what we talking there, 0.3 of a degree, 0.4 of a degree, so pretty yeah, pretty damn good. We've got the average yeah, when we're looking at the average temperatures as well, the average is even closer. So you can't really see this at the moment, but it's like 0.2 of a degree. So we're not going to be messing too much with the cambers. Now, if I had huge variances, say the inside edge was 1 degree hotter than the middle of the tire, sorry, then I know that I'd be running too much camber and that I'd have to reduce that camber down just a fraction, just so that we're basically not burning up the tyre for a race run, but also we're getting the most grip out of the tyre as well. I've obviously got a couple of other things that show on here, like my steering angle, so you know I can see how much lock I'm putting in as well. It's also useful if I'm doing any counter steering, you can pick that up because that will have a little effects on the tyre temperature as well. Mainly the rears when you're looking at that with the counter steering. I have to say the temperatures look really, really cool, which is why I wasn't slipping around anywhere. So I'm not sure what the track temperature is out there at the moment. I wonder if I can find that air temp 25. See if I can find track temp. Temp 39. Yeah, it's still reasonably hot, so guessing really I'm just not pounding the tyres that much, but that's probably because I'm slow as hell at the moment. But yeah, even the rear pressures, rear cambers look pretty good at the moment with only a 0.1 split in temperatures and a 0.06 on the left hand side as well. So we're not going to be messing too much with the cambers. They're already in a good place, which is a good thing. So I have to say car didn't feel all that bad. Yeah, just the driver sucks at the moment. Got a few more guys on there now, so Mark Warmington, good to see Mark on there. Shout out to him. Right then, I'm just going to have to bore you guys just for another little run, although I am going to take some fuel out of it because it seemed like there was just a bit too much. Go down, reset my ride heights. Right, take it out again. That's going to be a tricky turn. Turn 1, I think. Definitely going to be awkward. The downshift there. Curves are quite deadly actually, I'm surprised. Thought they'd be quite flat. Oh, you can get through it flat. Yeah, it definitely feels like it wants to go faster, but on the other hand, it also feels a bit flat. Yeah, that was interesting. Might go back and look at the data on there just to see what happened there. To me, it just looked like the rear end just got a little bit light under braking, come loose. Like I say, I'm still very much learning the track. To say the best guys in the world about 5 laps and that's it, they're on it. I don't know how they do it, to be honest. Certainly a very technical track, going to take a little while to get used to. Overshot that by miles that time. It looks like that white line, and maybe just before it on that last corner, seems to be ideal braking. Just before the white line there as well. And once you get a bit more confidence, probably extend that up the hill a bit more. Right, sorry, just a little bit quiet there, just trying to get this track into my head. Yeah, a bit of rubbish through that final sector there. Take a lot more speed through there than you think. Oh, Dalton. I didn't quite turn in as early that time, and the car felt much more comfortable. Didn't get loose at all, so maybe just some of the strange camber on the circuit. Oh, far too fast into that. Totally messed up the rest of that sector. Definitely seems like you're going to have to compromise a lot of different corners to get an overall best sector in there. Anyone thought this track was easy? They're definitely kidding you. Still finding absolute heap loads of time. Looks like the fuel's down to about a right place to actually have like a good 4 or so laps round. Bit hot in there again. Definitely seems like there's a lot of traction. Might need to reduce second gear down a bit. A little bit better through there. Definitely want to compromise the entrance on that, I think, so you get a better exit. Yeah, maybe there's just so much grip because I'm not pushing it enough. Right, I think we're going to box it in this time. Thank you for the compliment. Thought they said that fixed that thing with COTA where you could see through, but I could still see through the edge there. I don't know if you saw that on my screen, but that might just be because I've got some settings turned off. Wow, this pit lane is long. Good detail, even though I've got everything turned off. That's something to take in consideration then, is just how long this pit stop's going to take. Right, so I just logged another little bit of telemetry. Obviously gone a little bit quicker this time, so I just want to double check to make sure that what am I thinking? I lost it. Brain failure. just to make sure that the cambers and everything is still okay. I mean, they feel honestly the car feels pretty great. So, um, but like I said, that's probably more because I'm just not pushing it at the moment. Is this going to lose full screen? No, it hasn't this time. Thank you. Right. Okay, actually, if anything, the rear temperatures have got closer now that I've started to build up a little bit of pace. So I have to say they're even better. As have the fronts as well. Still got a couple of lockups in there. So I might need to just edge my brake bias back a fraction. Yeah, so 0.2 difference, 0.12 difference there, and the rears are like under 0.1 difference now on the average temperature. So yeah, looking good. Guys did a good job on this. Not going to need to tweak it too much as far as tyres go, anyway. Whether I'm at the right pressure at the moment, yet to be seen, but doesn't feel too bad. I mean, the 130 seems to be a reasonable starting point, I think. Good for some slow speed stuff and good for some high speed stuff as well. I mean, at Spa, I think I was using just a little bit above that. Okayama a bit underneath it into the 120s, so gives you a rough idea. Do vary, but not a great deal. I think probably 10 to 15 kPa variance from track to track, I would think. Right, so yeah, so we sort of got a little bit of brake locking up a bit. Bias is quite a way forward at the moment, but what I'm probably going to try and do is just get the ramp in to get the sort of the peak or the base bias down a bit sooner in the braking zone. So I'm going to take that up to about 35%. That might be all we need to stop the lock-in. If it's not, then we'll go. We'll start moving the bias backwards. In turn, what that will mean is that the car will rotate a bit more into corners, so I might have to go and do some work in the diff to stop the extra rotation. That one you sort of got to come out and then back in, but not like that at all. Still learning the track. So technical. Before the S's at Suzuka were technical, you're nothing. Still got a little lock there. Yeah, I'm wrong side of the track. Low speed rotation is going to be so important here. Okay, it definitely gets a little upset going over that inside curb. You have to do something about that. Slightly softer anti-roll bar, I think. Nearly. Dalton loses it behind us. Bit nervous in that corner that time, bit too early turning in. Oh, into first. That's not going to work. Not entirely sure what the times are going to be. I mean, at this point I struggle to see where 5 seconds is going to be. But that's usually the case, I think, with a new track. Might not be 35s this season. Obviously, previous seasons we had some sort of weather effect and they were quite big, and you know, you get a headwind, it can make a huge difference to the grip levels of the car. Ah, it's just a terrible line. But yeah, with the default weather, we might well be 1 or 2 seconds slower. I remember reading a post on the Dallara forum that said that the right weather conditions could be upwards of 4 seconds of that difference. I'm not sure it should be that much with the kind of weather change we've got. But yeah, that's what we have to sort of deal with. I think default's normally a little bit slow. I think when the weather kicked in on the F1, we started putting in a lot quicker lap times than not before. So I think I'm going to tweak that brake just a fraction more. I might actually go back on the bias because in those heavy braking zones like there, turn 1, just starting to lock. I was close to that curb. That's got to be an off track, yep. Might be using first in some of these tight corners in the end. Any that tuned in on the last stream will know I'm not a fan. Totally missed my braking point there. What have we got? 1.5. Let's try and get a decent lap in next time. I can definitely tell you the most important thing this week is to get yourself down, get a comfortable setup underneath you. Let's not worry about it being super fast straight away. You got to learn this track. There's going to be so much time made. Oh, I've gone into first again. It's me chatting away. There's going to be so much time made up just by getting the lines right. Study eye speed. Look at what others are doing. Ask for some replays. Jump in the public sessions. Watch what they're doing. When I get a reasonable time, I'll make sure I share it on iSpeed and put the replay on the forum for you guys to have a look. Definitely too wide there. Oh, get over. And then too deep there. Ah! Yeah, so technical through there. Yeah, sort of straightening that braking zone off. A very weird corner. It's not really sort of a gradual apex or anything. It's sort of all over the place. And that little curve there is quite low. Been avoiding that like the plague, but I think you could probably take some of that last one. Right, where are we? Let's just quickly run back. Well, look at what sort of speed I'm doing down the straights. We'll take a quick look at this gearbox calculator that I was talking about earlier. So 286, so not very quick down there at all. I think it's the back straight mainly where we get all the straight line speed out of it. Not this one, is it? It's the one after this one, I think. So wide in those braking zones, definitely going to be able to stick your nose in there. Excuse me. We're doing 301 then. Where are we now? 306 is probably a tad high. Definitely that second gear's got to come down. So I'm thinking I'm just gonna help the rotation with the second gear down as well. So I'm gonna re-look at the gearbox and just go from just trying to think what was best. Set to 1. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna change the final gear ratio and realign these gears completely. Going from like that. Yeah, we'll try a 179, and we want to end around 303. That's going to be, if we get the gears right, probably be 305. Right, so 179 and 305. Now, so what I'm effectively doing is I want the car to peak out at the end of the longest straight. Ideally, you want it to peak out before the end, because typically what happens if you can get to a top speed faster, you actually gain more time because you're beating the car there under acceleration. So it's only that very short 200 meters or so that the other car's going to make that gain back on you. So typically you want it to peak out about 200-300 meters before the end. Well, maybe not 200-300, maybe 100 meters. There we go. 100 meters is quite a long way. Yeah, so that might need to come down a fraction, but anyway, let's have a quick look at this this gear ratio. Right, so we're 2.00 and 1174 for the gear ratio. That'll make sense in a minute. You can check all this stuff in Motec as well, what I'm about to bring up, but it's just as easy to do it on here. Is that it hiding behind there? Certainly is. Just encoding Sim Racers Asia, PitTalkAsia.com GT Simulator Championship. Great league. If you you haven't seen it, check it out. Especially if you're from that neck of the woods. Too big. Can't see nothing now. Because they've got some fantastic prizes on the offing for that one as well. I think Mark's about to do a major press release on that as well. It'll be a first for league history, I think, as far as iRacing goes. So, yeah, if that doesn't spark your interest, I'm not sure what will. Right, okay, so the gearing tool Now, if you've used the description, download this already. Set up for the Williams. You've got RPM limit for the garage and true. Now, just to explain what that is the true rev limit of the car is not actually what's set in the garage. So they will display slightly different speeds, or will perform slightly different speeds. The gear ratios will show different speeds. I think iRacing, it will say X amount of kilometers an hour or miles per hour compared to each gear ratio. Now, if you set it to garage, it'll match what it does in iRacing, so it'll make a bit of sense. If you set it to true, it's what it'll actually do. Because there's the rev limits like 20 revolutions per minute, slightly higher. So yeah, bit of a fail there on that part, but. Yeah, so let's have a look. Right, we switched over to the 131. I wanted a 179, and we wanted to change the. Yeah, it's a little bit too high. 305, didn't we? And what we've got here is the top speaker that can be reached on here. Great, my conversion's complete. Awesome. So yes, we've got the top speed for each gear, and then we've got the different peaks throughout the gears. Now, what we're basically after here is a nice smooth progression up through the gear ratios here. These bottom gears, bottom speeds here. We definitely don't want to be doing dipping up and down all over the place, because Gearbox is not going to be very efficient when you're coming out of sort of hairpin corners. You've got big long straight, especially that pack straight. So we want to accelerate as quickly as we can possibly be. Now, this is obviously open to interpretation. It's your judge on how smooth it is, and you might also find that you get the odd corner where it's just a little bit too high and you want to just knock it down. Now, if you can still get a reasonable curve into the progression, then by all means do so. But yeah, try and get it as a nice sort of gradual increase in sort of speed to the RPM minimum drop areas that it goes to. Right, so 179. Let's quickly take a crack at some of these. I think 211 seems like it might be a bit high, but actually you can already see that this is starting to look quite smooth already. Of course, first gear down to second is going to be quite a huge drop, because it's such a massive gap, because we're limited to what we can have as our top speed on first gear. That's it. 133 is as high as we can go. Those were basically, these gear ratios were put in place as people used to say that we started off in too high first gear. First gear shouldn't be 180 kilometers an hour, so they put some restrictions in there so we couldn't do it. So yeah, now we have big gaps in the gearbox at this level. Most people keep around this 170 range anyway, so seemed a bit pointless for us, the community, to moan, but we like to have a little moan, and yeah, we've got a bit more of an awkward gearbox now because of it. So right, 211, 39. Have a quick bit. No, too much. You get the idea here, what I'm basically working with, but when you affect one, you affect the other as well. So 160. I jump there from 7th to see if that brings it down. It really is just trial and error. Actually, do you know what? I think the one that it got almost in here, it's probably going to be about right. So yeah, it's just what third gear is going to be like. So that transition from second to third, quite a big jump there in speeds, but typically you want to try and keep them an even distance aside. I was talking about that last week on the stream. So they're 180. I mean, talking 22 kilometers an hour difference there. Slightly more from second to third, so slightly less actually. So yeah, it's slowly coming down actually, which is, and that's how we're getting that nice progression. So that's what we're going to go for. So 2.0, 1.7, 1.5. I have to swap between to try and get this right. 5. Uh, 348238174. Three, four, eight. 238, was that right? Yeah, that looks right. And 174. There we go. So a little tweak to the gear ratio there. So I don't know if it's going to be any better yet, so I'm just going to quickly save it and see. Hoping it will help me get out of some of those slower corners just a little bit better, and into them a bit as well. I feel like the car was just struggling a little bit. I didn't change the brakes, but actually the gear ratio will help that too. You watch, I'll probably spin out everywhere now because it'll be just too much. Of course, you just got to get used to the different gear ratios again. Yes, mate, default. Let me just double check. Yeah, no, it's set to default. There we go, just checking the weather, making sure it's set right. So I'm not going to do too much more on tonight's little stream, but I hope the little insight into Motec, the links, things like that have helped you out. Like I say, the main reason I'm going to cut this one short is I've got a couple of things on tonight, and got a massive headache too. Nothing worse than having a GoPro strapped to it. Another reason I should think about doing the screen capture instead. Definitely got a bit more punch out of the corners now, which is what we wanted. Definitely feels still a little bit flat on that one. So might even have to come down to, I think it's 174 is the next one. Wasn't a very good line, but bit of hop in as well, so definitely going to have to bring that anti-roll bar down the front. That generally helps that. Not always. Again, when you do something like that, you're going to have to balance it out elsewhere. Well, times are coming down, so I have to say I think the gearbox is a bit closer to where we want it to be. Going to take a lot of laps this week. I think I'm planning on doing an odd race, so it should be fun. Oh, that's not going to be good. Boy, you're going to have to watch for them. Don't recall them being that severe in when watching the Grand Prix. Pretty sure they are GT curbs rather than the F1. I think they had the sausagey curves, didn't they, which are quite bad, but I'm not sure they were that bad. They're deadly. Ah, damn it. Well, we're going to take a chunk off the optimal sector there. Yeah, before the white line now. Come on. There a lot more speed through that first bit, and that was an off track. That's because I was too tight on the exit. I like it. That's alright, just gone quiet, just while I try and whack this lap in. God, gotta sort that out. So much chatter. Well, there is still an absolute boatload of time on the table, I think. So, I'm really not sure about 35, so. Right, okay guys, I'm not going to do too much more tonight, sorry about that. Like I said, I've got a couple of things to do, just a quick hour long one tonight with all the faffing around, getting the pedals to work and whatnot, but hope that's give you a bit of an insight into how to use the gearing tool, and then what I'm looking at when I'm working on Motec, mainly focusing in on the tyre temperatures. You can see my limit line actually, if I get a bit closer, set to 90, so that's really what I'm looking at. I tell you what, before we go, let's just quickly import that last one, that last lap we did, because I'm starting to push it a little bit more now, so temperatures are going to creep up, so we'll keep an eye on that. It's difficult to know right at this point what you can do to keep the temperatures down. Obviously a slightly softer car will help on that, but you're a little bit more susceptible to bottoming out and things like that. Obviously the other things are just make sure cambers aren't too high and stuff like that as well, because that will also cause them to overheat. Oh, on the reverse side, obviously if the cambers are too low and the car's sliding, like the rear end sliding going into the corner, come on, I'll get back to the telemetry in a second, then that's exactly the same sort of issue that you're going to have. So you're basically going to heat up the tyres going into the corner, so then when you need to start putting load on them, there's going to be there's not going to be enough life left in them because of the thermal degradation that well, it's not degradation, it's the thermal drop off in grip. It's so sudden now. You know, I'm not convinced that it's that extreme at this point, but hey, I've never driven one of these cars. It might well be like that. So right, where are we? Let's dump this in there and just take a quick look at that. Where are we? It's already open. Okay. Did not come across then? Doesn't look like it did. Check that again. As you can see, I just keep a crap load in there as well. Okay, that's odd. Why is it not importing that? My MUs. Maybe it's the wrong file. Oh, if in doubt, copy them all. And that's I'm on the wrong machine, aren't I? That might be why. Where are we? There we go. Right, that's better. Okay, so my hot lap then, we can see obviously I am still locking up those front tyres into turn 1, which is definitely a problem. So I'm going to have to work the brake bias backwards a little bit like that. Like I say, I'm pretty sure The rotation's not too bad right now, and the last thing I want to do is make it even more while I'm trying to get used to the track. So I'll probably lock maybe the middle diff up just a fraction, like 1 click, or maybe the entry diff a couple of clicks as well. I've got another one as well going into that hairpin corner down here, so you can see the temperature shooting up here. This might just be, I'm not sure that's quite locking. That's not too bad. Just a bit excessive. Yeah. And then of course the temperatures gets hot here, front left we're looking at right now, sorry. And we're going around that long carousel corner, so flat out corner, all the weight on the car there. So just about at its limit, I think there. So like I said, I think I get best grip at about 90 degrees. It used to be set at 100, but I don't know if I turn that down just to be a bit of a safety net kind of thing. But yeah, I'm thinking 90 is about best. Anything above that, then you start to struggle. Front right, there's no issues whatsoever. Even those points in the heavy braking zones, it's not a problem. It's always that inside left that seems to be locking up, which could be a problem in the race as well if that happens, because you can wear that quite a bit more. As for the rears, well, temperatures look a little bit higher now as well, now that we're working the car a little bit more out of the corner with this lower gearbox. But I would say we're looking pretty good there as well. And let's have a look at the yeah, the split actually is increased ever so slightly on the rear, and it's only over 1 lap as well. So you know, for a true look at the average, you want to kind of look at the all your laps excluding your out lap, really. Yeah, and it's back down to almost 0.1 again, so that's probably just that 1 lap, so your average is good. Yeah, I was just using the scroller on the mouse there, you can scroll in and zoom out. You can also use some of these presets up here. But yeah, if you haven't used Motec, do give it a little while. It may look a little daunting to start off with, but honestly it's not. And the guys are on the forum, you know, they help you out. They're pretty good. You know, if you ask questions of what means and what not means, it's you know, people are pretty good. And I think actually there's a couple of posts up there that you can go and links you to all different discussions of what everything means when you've got grip, when you haven't got grip, and all different areas of Motec as well, and how to diagnose it all. So yeah, do go check out those links that I put on there. Right, thank you very much for tuning in, everybody. Sorry it's a little short and sweet this week, and we didn't really go into the setup a great deal. There's a lot of work needs to be done, and I still think for myself I need to bang in another 20 or so laps just to get down with the track before I start focusing on the setup. Definitely think the gearbox is in the right place, which is always the first thing that I want to work on, but it's only in the right place for the downforce that I've got on the car at the moment. Tyres could well need a bit of a play with the pressures, and then of course the cambers might come out just a fraction. But yep, I'm going to try and do a couple of races this week, so hope you all have fun. I'll see you on track at the weekend hopefully. But from me and from COTA, it's goodbye for now.